I started buying and selling real estate in my very early 20s, just a couple of years after getting married. And it worked. A little bit of family connection with some bankers and stuff that knew me and trusted me. I don't know why. I was 22 years old, 23 years old. But they started loaning me money, and I got rich. I ended up with about $4 million worth of real estate, about $3 million worth of debt. So that's difference is $1 million net worth. And at 25, 26 years old, I was making $250,000 a year, cash taxable income. That was amazing. I mean, the neighborhood I grew up in, $20,000 a month, that's rich. I was rich. I mean, we did all the stuff we had dreamed of doing, and I'd always wanted a Jaguar. That was my car. I'd dreamed of having a Jaguar. I set that goal back when I was in college, and so I got my Jaguar, man, and everything seemed to be going right. It was incredible. And our first baby was born, Denise, and then and we're cooking along, and about the time we started going to church, and I met God in the process. And weird thing happened. It was right about that time that everything started falling apart. I remember that. The banks got sold. The main bank we were dealing with, we had $1,200,000 with them in 90-day notes because we were buying property and flipping it. And that bank got sold to another bank. And the guys in another state, in another city, looked down and said, there's a kid 26 years old here owes us $1,200,000. This is ridiculous. Let's limit this relationship, which is banker talk for call his notes and screw up his life. So they called our notes, gave me 90 days to come up with $1 million. There's no way. Started to crash. I couldn't stop. Word got out on the street that I was in trouble, and I was in trouble. And our second largest lender, we had $800,000 out with them. They called our notes about 60 days later after the first one. So we had less than 6 months to come up with $2 million, and it's all in real estate. You can't sell real estate fast enough to pay that bill. We'd never lost money on a deal. We'd never been late a minute on a note, ever. That didn't matter, though. They just decided that they were going to limit their relationship. They were in freak-out mode in the economy that we were in right then. And those two hits started a crash that we fought for 2.5 years. We sold everything as fast as we could. And it doesn't matter what you do. When you pile up stupid as high as I piled it, it's going to fall down and you can't catch it all. So no matter how hard I fought, no matter how smart I was, no matter how much I kept my word, no matter how much I was going to do the right thing and pay everybody, it didn't matter. I couldn't control the outside variables. And I remember being so scared. Sharon and I, there was a lot of separation between us. She's pretty freaked out and scared, pretty ticked at her husband. I didn't have any answers. I was the guy that had all the answers. The weird thing was we paid the $4 million down all the way to $378,000. It was unbelievable. But some of the little ones, we had been sued hundreds of times, it felt like. I don't know exactly how many it was. It was close to 100 easy. And one of those little lawsuits decided on that they were going to execute on the judgment, and they arranged with the sheriff's department to come take the furniture out of our house on a Friday morning. So September 22nd of 1988, we met with a bankruptcy attorney. He filed them on Friday morning. So we filed bankruptcy on the 23rd to keep the sheriff out of our house and keep him from taking the baby bed. But I was out of gas. I didn't have enough emotional energy to fight anymore. I mean, we were just beat up and beat down. So I met God on the way up, but I got to know him on the way down, without a doubt. I started studying biblical finance and comparing what the Bible and common sense has to say about money, comparing that with what I had learned in academia, because I've got all these letters and licenses after my name that says I'm supposed to know something about money, but there I sat broke. I started applying new ideas like a budget and like an emergency fund and like getting out of debt, staying out of debt. And we had a guy at church come up to me not long after and said, "Hey, can we have a cup of coffee with you and your wife? We're going through financial garbage and it's about to tear our marriage apart. It looks like you all made it. How did you make it?" And we're like, "Well, we barely did, so we'll talk to you then." So we had a cup of coffee with him. I guess it was my first financial counseling session, probably. I got a budget out. I remember getting the yellow pad out and saying, "Dude, you got to do a budget. Tell me where's your..." And I'm sitting there trying to look at his numbers, and I thought, man, this will really work. I can really show people how to win with this. And I could see it instantly in other people's situations. I guess because we had been there. I got a friend of mine that says having a testimony is a great idea, but getting one's a pain. We've spent a lot of our time and effort in not only being educational, but being aspirational to lift and to make people believe Because when you believe, you can do a lot of things that really don't even make sense. It's crazy what people can pull off when they believe they can, and it's crazy what they can't pull off when they don't believe they can. I've watched a lot of people file bankruptcy that were not bankrupt. They were just scared. The light at the end of the tunnel was an oncoming train for them. They didn't believe that there was anything out there that was real, that they could turn the corner. They were hopeless. And that broken spirit, there's almost nothing that can overcome it. But the fuel is the hope.